Hi everybody and welcome to today's Business Connected Lunch and Learn webinar. My name is Amy. I'm a Programme Manager at Enterprise Nation and I'm very happy to welcome you here today. So for those of you who are joining an Enterprise Nation Lunch and Learn for the first time, today's session is part of Business Connected. We've partnered with Vodafone Business to equip 800,000 small businesses over 3 years with various different digital skills. The programme is also supported by our digital partner, JP Morgan. So for more information, do visit the Business Connected Hub. You'll access more events such as this for free every single month and lots of digital skills training as well to support you on your business journey. So today I am pleased to introduce our speaker, Anna Morrish. She is going to be diving into Google Search Generative Experience and how it's going to change the world of search, meaning how people find your business, along with how people make purchases online as well. So a great, exciting topic. If you have any questions throughout the session, please post them in the Q&A chat function and we'll do our best to answer those at the end. It'd also be great if everyone could share in the chat where they're tuning in from today and a little introduction to your business as well. Today's webinar is going to be recorded and we will be sharing a follow-up email to everyone later today with the recording and further resources. Without much further ado, I'll now hand over to Anna to start her talk.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So yes, hopefully I'm going to be able to teach you a couple of things today. I'm not going to lie, things are changing very, very rapidly. So what we're looking at today, obviously, is going to be a snapshot. Things are likely to be changing even today with Google I/O. So they're going to be announcing all the latest and greatest things that are going to be happening over the next kind of year or so, I imagine. So yeah, definitely one to watch on there. So without further ado, what are we looking at today? So we're going to look at what changes SGE is going to bring. So what can we likely expect? We're going to look at how you can actually prepare and things that are actually going to benefit you now as well as in the future. And we're going to look at how you can actually test SGE for yourself as well. So yes, we've worked with lots of different types of businesses. We've worked with small businesses and I've worked with some larger businesses as well. So we've got an array of types of companies that we're helping on a daily basis. A lot of that is with organic search. So obviously, yes, we need to be looking at SGE. So what is it? What is SGE? So it's an experimental update. So Google, obviously wanting to keep up with everybody else, are looking at implementing or integrating AI within their search engine. Okay, so that's going to bring a lot of changes. So it's using AI to essentially generate context within the answers that it's then supplying when people are using different searches and they're asking questions within the search itself. And it's the future of search. Or is it? Okay, so this is a question in itself. So something that we've been looking at is, are these changes likely to happen? How likely are they to happen? Because at the end of the day, when we look at, the actual resource it takes to power something like this, it's absolutely massive. It's going to cost Google essentially millions, even billions to roll out, and they can't get it wrong. Okay, so everyone's going to be looking to Google as this huge superpower, so they've got to get it right. So that's something that obviously they're going to be considering as well. They're only going to roll out Google SGE officially to everybody as and when they are happy with it. And again, that could be subject to change as well. So what do we know? Well, we know that it aims to help users with decision fatigue. So we make, on average, about 150 micro decisions a day. So whether that's something that we're looking for information on, it might be a new product, it might be that we're looking for, I don't know, coffee brand versus another coffee brand. There's all these different types of decisions and answers or questions that we're looking for answers for. Okay, so it's trying to help support users with that. So how is it actually helping users? So with that fatigue as well. So we know when people are asking questions, so I'm going to show you a couple of examples here, they might be asking a series of questions. So what is the best skincare for combination skin? What's the best cleanser? And also maybe some additional context in here. Is it a daytime or is it a nighttime moisturizer? And this is just obviously one example that we're using. Now with SGE, they can ask a more in-depth question, so that it's going to be more specific to them, and they're going to be expecting a more in-depth answer. Okay, so it's not just looking at what is Google actually supplying, but what users are going to be expecting from this. Okay, so we're looking at longer tail keywords, so questions that are including various different keywords within the actual query itself. And then they expect a fully formed answer off of the back of this. So what does this actually look like in SGE? So let's show you. Let's have a look. Oh, frozen. There we go. So I asked the question to SGE. So you can see here, it's slightly different to what you would normally expect in terms of the SERP results. So you can see at the top here, we have the AI overview. So it gives us a little bit of information about what we can actually do for when we're choosing skincare products for an over 30-year-old with combination skin. So it gives us a little bit of information. We've got some additional resources there to the right, and to the bottom here, or initially, you can then see some products that it's recommending. Okay, so what it's doing is providing us lots of different answers to potential questions we might have. So it's anticipating our next steps and also our needs at this point. And what it's trying to do is keep us engaged. Now, a traditional view of of Google search, we ask lots of little questions. Yes, it does have an area where it can anticipate the next steps, but more often than not, it gives us loads of resources. It might give us some shopping ads, but you are then taken away to the resource, that source of information, or that particular product and website. So this is trying to keep us engaged. It's trying to surface the information on their search engine. Now, if we scroll down a little bit more, this is what we see. So you can show more products if you want to. We say we've got at the bottom here, generative AI is experimental, we know that. And just below here, we have some other questions that we might want to ask. So again, anticipating our next steps. What might our questions be after this? And when we click on any of those questions, it then provides a little feed so we can go back. And again, it's keeping us engaged on the platform. Okay, so this is one way it's changing, and this is all within that first section that we see. And this is the bit that is very, very important. So it's all about answering those questions. And there's various tools actually. So if we're looking at how do we know what questions people are going to ask next? Well, we already know that answering questions is very, very important. This is a section from the traditional view that we have on Google. And we can find these types of questions by using a tool called Also Asked. So Also Asked, I believe it's .com. If you go on there, type in some keywords that are relevant to your brand, maybe your products that people are likely to ask, it will then give you a feed of the questions that actually show up within this section, so the people also ask section. So it's a really good resource and source of information. But then you can obviously go on this, and I'm sure probably a lot of you here have used this particular section. And you often go down the rabbit hole and you end up on something completely random, but it gives you the answers. And this is a way that Google's currently keeping people engaged. So this is, SGE is going to be one step further. So why should you care about these changes? Okay, what are the potential changes? Well, we know that marketers are in fear of their jobs. We know that SEOs are scared about the changes to organic listings. So if people are, currently appearing, well, where does that actually sit? Now, what I've shown you so far, there was no organic listings there. And I will show you where they actually sit within SG in a moment. But yeah, it's something that people don't necessarily know about. It's the unknown. So people are starting to test it, but it's only being rolled out slowly and being tested very, very in small amounts. We know that it's been launched obviously in the US, and you can access it, and we're going to look at how you can access it as well. And it's obviously starting to roll out into the UK now and other areas as well. So we can look at testing it and seeing how do we actually appear in these searches. Are we showing up, and how do we actually then show up? Okay, so that's something we're going to be looking at. So you can stay up with the times and hopefully ahead of your competitors. So how is it going to impact you and your business? Now, I've mentioned there about the organic listings and obviously looking at keywords that you are currently ranking for. So we know that the traditional view of what we're used to is changing. We're now served with this AI experimental bit of information. So you've got the information, you might have products, or you might have some other listings there, and I'll show you a couple of views in a moment of how it differs depending on the searches. But we know that the organic results are going to be limited. They're going to have less space. Now, I would say, even the last month, the actual space that SGE and the AI results are taking up has reduced. So it was taking up a huge amount of space, but it's now taking up a lot less. I believe it's reduced by, I think it's 25% or more than that. But it's changing constantly. Okay, so as I mentioned at the start, we've got Google I/O, so their big announcements coming out today. So it may be again that they are going to change how they actually show these particular results within the search. Okay, it's also going to impact paid. Now, again, with that view that I just showed you, there was no sponsored results. There was no shopping ads at the top. There was no sponsored listings there either. And we know, as I say, that there was no organic listings. So how are we going to show up, and what is going to be the click-through rate? So how are they actually going to monetize this? And how, obviously, if you're already appearing for the organic top listing for a particular search, how do you now show up if the search results are all changing? Okay, so that's a potential change that you might see. So in all likeliness or likelihood, SGE is going to take some of your organic traffic. Now, obviously, if you're starting out already and you're focusing on organic, then you're going to be thinking, oh gosh, well, what's the point? Well, you can also appear, obviously, for the organic, and anything that you do now is also going to benefit you when if and when SGE does roll out fully. Now, we know from tests and people that are already experiencing some of the effects of SGE that drops have been between around 20 and 60%. Now, this is, when I say drops, this is click-throughs. So click-throughs going through from Google to their website to potentially make a purchase or engage with a brand. Some businesses have even seen up to 80% drops as well. Now, that's not to say that everyone's going to experience that, because obviously what we're going to do is look at how we can future-proof and actually show up for some of those results. So I know this is going to be a little bit hard to see if you've got a smaller screen, but this is essentially the traditional view that you are familiar with. And I've asked the same question as I'd asked SGE just a moment ago. So obviously the skincare products for over 30-year-old with combination skin. Now, that's the sponsored results that we're very familiar with. This is what we commonly see at the top if we're looking to make a purchase on a particular product. We've then got the sponsored post that I mentioned. And then you also have down here, we've got the organic listing. So they've actually got a rich snippet here as well, but you've got Boots that have the actual top organic search result for this. Okay, so how is that likely to change? We've already had a little sneak peek, but this is them side by side. Okay, so you can see the traditional view on the left-hand side, and then you've got the SGE result on the right-hand side. And this is where we're seeing the organic listing. Now, if you'd have tested this about a month or so ago, you wouldn't have even seen it here. This has changed dramatically even in the last few weeks. But this is where the organic listing on the traditional view is. Okay, so even still, if you think normally, people don't scroll too much, and plus if they're being served answers at the top position here within the SGE result, how likely are they to click through to that organic listing? So that's something that Google is going to be testing. They'll be looking at, okay, well, which ones, a lot of people, when they look at ads, for example, they don't necessarily click on the ads, they'll scroll down to the organic listing. Okay, so they're completely kind of blind to some of the things that they're being shown as an advert. Whereas, some people just prefer to click on an ad if they're being served it. They're happy. So we need to have a look at, okay, well, if we're going to be showing up in organic, is that top listing going to be more important, or is it some of the other elements, and how can we actually show up? So that's what we're going to be looking at as well today. So what else is changing? So we know the two views are completely different, but when we dive into it a little bit more, this was something that you just saw a second ago. So the products that is recommending to us. Now you'll see that the prices are in US dollars. So I've done the test in the USA, just because that's one way that we can currently test it. Obviously that may change for UK, but it gives us a good indicator of how it's actually ranking some of these particular products. Now, notice the detail here. So what we're looking at here on the right-hand side of these products is a bit of information. Now, it's pulling this in from various different sources. It's an AI-generated piece of information, but it's also actually pulling it in from reviews, okay? So if I just show you this section as well, so it's saying, especially obviously we've looked for combination skin, this is good for dry skin, or actually good for oily skin. And it's giving you the different options. So it's starting to categorize some of these products for us. Now, this piece of information, along with the information to the right-hand side, it is, as I say, being pulled in from reviews, along with various other resources. But if we actually look at the reviews themselves, so you can see highlighted there, oily skin. So I've looked at the second product down, and when we look at reviews, it's mentioned numerous times in the reviews. Now, these reviews are being pulled in from a variety of sources, a lot of websites that obviously house these products and stock these products. But yes, it's pulling out particular keywords and then it's categorizing it for these SERP results. Okay, so it's looking at real information from real people. So that's something that is going to be very important. Now, something that we noticed, it was about a month ago when they were pulling in reviews, they were actually pulling in only Google reviews. So again, look at various different sources of or widgets and different things that you can add to your website. It's not just Google reviews, it's reviews on your website as well. So make sure you have those integrated, that you're also encouraging people to write reviews, but also use keywords. Then I've looked for, so I've gone more specific. I've had a little bit more context here, or yeah, just what I'm looking for in terms of a cream. So I'm looking for a night cream. So I'm looking for something really specific, and I'm looking for oily skin. So this is another view of SGE. And another way that we can be found, obviously, in these results that Google's showing us. So you can see at the top, I've not clicked open to show more here, but I can do, and it'll give me more recommendations, obviously pulling that information and categorizing it based on some of the user generated information from reviews. But what you can also see down the left hand side here, it's again providing more category information. So it's pulling this information from the websites and the content within the product information. So we've got features in here, we've got stores, we've got sustainability. So it's pulling out information it thinks that people are going to be interested in. Okay, so this is information essentially we need to be making sure is on our websites, and that we're also using categories to look at the different products and where we're actually putting them. So if you have, a skincare product, maybe it's for women, maybe it's for men, maybe it's for everybody, but have those categories laid out. The same as if it's a night cream, if you've got daytime products, also if you've got sustainable products. So we've got to branch out some of those categories, but also include a bit of information about what that category is. What does it look like? What are the products within that category? So we're adding the context to those actual products. Okay, so context really does matter here. And as I say, it's always trying to keep people engaged. So the more information it can supply here, the better for Google, essentially. This is another view. So this is a view that we took, this was about a month ago. And this is looking, again, another type of product. We was looking for products based on a particular film. And again, something just to note is it is categorizing the products for us and then giving us some suggestion. Again, it's pulling in those reviews, but it's the categories that we're interested in. So it's again providing context based on when that user might be actually doing this search. So again, think about, is it a daytime product? Is it a nighttime product? Is it a gift? Is it for a particular type of person, a mum, a dad, a daughter? It's all this kind of information that's going to be really, really important, okay? So we've got to make sure that we are categorizing all of our products and services correctly. So then we also look for a service-based. So this is what we look or what we find when we're looking for a service-based business. So you can see here it's given us the map, so we can see location because we have looked for a particular area. And again, it's pulling in those reviews. So even if you're service-based, categories and actually or actually the reviews, sorry, is very important. So you can hear it says, some say they helped improve the SEO, and we've got an in-depth analysis in there as well. So if you want to actually be found for SEO, or if it was for, you know, in-depth analysis or various different types of keywords relating to your business, we need to encourage users where possible to include that within their reviews. Now, it's something that we do quite regularly. You know, people sometimes think, oh, I'll write a review, and then they forget about it. So obviously, yes, you can do emails, you can send even an incentive to encourage people to write a review, but trying to help them as well come up with what kind of information they're going to put in there is also useful. So if they've bought a product, so a skincare product for oily skin, ask them, say, how was this particular product, name the product for your oily skin, do you find that it solved the problem, would you recommend it? So you're starting to mention keywords and then kind of pulling it to the forefront of their mind as well. But yeah, it's the kind of summary that it's giving people is going to be very, very important, because it's essentially recommending what people should be clicking through to based on what it is that they want. So yeah, context matters, no matter what we're looking at, whether you're service-based, whether you're a product, you know, context matters. So that's something that you really, really do need to be thinking about when you're creating your content, when you're looking at your meta titles, you're optimizing any of that, but also when you're asking for reviews as well. So if you know that it was a particular gift, or if, you know, if you can follow their search and you've got all of the tracking in place and you can see that they looked for a product for their mother, then ask them, you know, did your mum enjoy the gift? What was her thoughts? But yeah, that user generated content is valuable now, but it's going to become even more valuable later on. And keywords matter. That's yeah, very, very important. And as I say, user generated content. Even now, you know, if you can get users to generate content, tag you on social media, it provides trust. You also start building and forming a bit of a community based around your brand as well. So it's going to be really, really useful, and obviously will help cement you within the industry. But that trust element obviously is key right now. If you've heard of Google EAT, which is EEAT, that stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. That supports your SEO. So anything that you can do to support that is going to help your SEO now, and obviously is going to future-proof you for SGE later on as well. So how else can you prepare? What steps can you actually take to future-proof your business? So as I mentioned, it's all about, you know, future-proofing you now, but also looking at how we can then obviously prepare for SGE. So obviously we want to be looking at organic, but we're looking at the AI results at the same time. So we've also always got to consider the journey. Not one person is going to take one journey and that be it. Okay, so they're not going to see one keyword, land on one particular page and then engage. They're going to look in various different ways. We know that. Okay, so that's why the categories are going to be very, very important. And also thinking about guides that you might have. Buying guides are very, very useful. Comparison guides as well. So if you can compare your product or service to another's, and do it in a almost non-biased way as much as possible, then again you're going to start showing up for those searches. And comparison content is very, very valuable. They have really high conversion rates, and that's talking about now, that's not obviously in the future, but they have really high conversion rates compared to a lot of other content. So we need to start thinking about how we can start creating that content that's then also going to start supporting us if SGE starts actually rolling out for our brands and our products. Okay, so we've also, I'd say, we've got to consider that journey. We've also got to make sure that the content adds value, it's answering the decisions or questions that people are asking. Okay. Consider the context. So context, I will constantly harp on about this, but it's key. You know, everyone's having in a different situation. They might be buying a bottle of wine for themselves to enjoy on an evening. If it's in the morning, they might be actually looking to buy something for a gift. So again, we need to be showing up for any searches that they're looking for on Google for that. Okay, so as I mentioned, have a look at Also Asked. It's a great tool, great resource, and you can find so many different questions that people are asking based on their initial questions. So we're anticipating their next moves. We can then create content off of the back of that. Okay. So one tool that I'd like to mention, another tool actually, is something called Positional. And they do offer free trials, I believe. I think it's a 2-week trial, so you can literally feed in loads of content into this tool. So if you've got loads of blogs and you're looking, well, I'm already answering lots of questions, how can I do it better, or what am I missing? You can put your content in here. It also looks at your competitors, and it will tell you, are you answering these questions well? Are some of them not so good? Could they do with some improvement? And actually, what are you missing compared to some of your competitors? So you can start filtering in more answers to obviously questions that people have got. Obviously, you can get the questions from also asked. And actually something that they're going to be launching very soon is something called, well, it's a feature within this, is what everyone is missing. So again, looking at your competitors, what are they not answering, but people are also asking on search. Okay, so you can start showing up and get a leg up off of your competitors. So they're going to be missing that completely, and you can start showing up for those results based on those questions. So that's something to watch out for, but definitely a good one. Even just have a play on it, because yeah, sometimes people think, oh, you know, if I'm creating another piece of content to answer another question, it's got to be a new piece of content, it's got to be completely fresh. No, if you've already got a piece of content that's performing well, then update it. Okay, so go back to it, update it, whether that's from 23 to 24, or if it's just adding a couple of additional questions, or if you want to just improve the content a little bit further. But really useful tool to have a look at and start auditing your content. So what steps can we take to future-proof the business? We've got, obviously with the journey, we know context is important. We know we've got to answer more of the questions that people are asking. We know we can expand and update that content, so we can use Positional to do that. And we can obviously regularly update our website content. So any new trends that form, we can obviously be showing up for that as well. You can also review those categories and the category content. Now, it's really important if you're creating categories, make sure you are adding category content. Doesn't have to be a lot, even just, you know, a sentence or two explaining what people can expect to find within that particular category. Because remember, not everybody's going to visit your homepage and then go to the category. They may just literally hit the category page from the search result. Okay, so we need to be saying, well, this is a category all about X, Y, and Z. This is what you can expect to find. There might be some relating categories, and you can do some linking to those particular pages as well. Okay, so as I say, those categories, very, very important. So have a look, and I'll show you in a moment, but have a look on SGE. Look at relative searches for you and your business, and look at the categories that Google's actually featuring within the results. What kind of products are actually showing up? Where is it trying to guide people as well? How is it engaging people, and making sure that we're then including those categories or mentions within our content. And encourage reviews. So I've already mentioned, you know, we need to be showing up for the different searches. We've mentioned combination skin. Now, it's already smart enough to know that that means I might have some dry patches, I might have some oily patches, and some just sensitive areas as well. Okay, so it's smart enough to know that, but we need to be including that kind of information within the reviews. Okay, so encourage people where possible, you know, start speaking to your customers. They're going to be the biggest champions. They're going to be the people that are, you know, going to follow you, your brand, as it grows as well. So it's really important to start engaging with them, start obviously getting that user generated content, but also getting more reviews across your website. But also, as I say, don't just focus on Google reviews and obviously that third-party source. Make sure you're integrating reviews onto your website and on individual products as well. So don't just have, you know, that slider. I mean, yes, you can have that, but don't just have that one slider. Have the reviews on individual products and services where you can as well, so we can start being really, really specific. So how can we test SGE? So we used a VPN. So we used Express VPN, and then we put that we was in the USA. as I say, it is starting to roll out in the UK, but it is experimental, and they are obviously rolling out slowly and surely. So yes, we want to make sure that we can have a look. So we go to the US. That's at the moment. I say that may change. You may also be able to log in and actually look and access it already. But if you can't, if you've not got that access yet, then go and just have a look on use a VPN. Basically tells you you're coming in from the US. And if you go to this link here, so labs.google, you'll be able to then actually have a look on SGE. So it's not just showing up straight away. I say it's an experimental thing that Google's looking at and testing. So you will need to go here. And if you look for this particular section, so the search powered by generative AI, and if you get started, it will show you this particular screen and this bit to the left. So try an example. If you click on there, you will go through to the results, and then you can type in anything you like and see what shows up. So any questions? I'm sure there's probably quite a lot. And I've probably, opened your eyes to a few different things. As I say, SGE is changing so quickly. And if there are questions, I will try and my best to answer them.
Thanks so much, Anna. That was super interesting. We do have one question. Someone's asked, what do you think the main impact key challenges will be for very small businesses who are already struggling to get found?
Well, that's the thing, because it's so new. If your content is good enough, if you've set everything up right, you've got the category content, you're serving your users in the right way, the organic listing might not matter at all. You might just show up. So that's why it's important to test it. If you can have a look for businesses that are similar to yours, let's say in the US, if you haven't got access at the moment, when you click on that link, we go to that link. But you might have access. If you have, then test, see what's showing up for your brand and for the products that are going to be relevant to you. Because you might just be found there already. That it's changing everything. People that are in the organic listings are nowhere to be found in some of these search results. It's completely changing the entire landscape. So you may just be there already.
Perfect. And can you repeat the name of the tool that tracks duplicate content?
So it's not necessarily duplicate content. So it's one that you can add your content to, and it will look whether you're answering the questions within the content correctly, and whether you can make improvements. But that's called positional.
Okay, perfect.
Positional.
And I know we've run a little bit over, but we'll have one final question. So what do you think some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that you may see businesses make that they should avoid when integrating this kind of
when they're trying to prepare
Google tool?
I would say overthinking it. Also trying to upscale their content too quick using AI. So we've seen results where people that have literally created websites or overhauled their content using AI, whether that's ChatGPT or one of the others, they've seen a massive incline and it looks like it's doing amazing. Then all of a sudden it gets hit and they tank, and they literally drop off the face of the earth. So I wouldn't recommend, if you want to start thinking, oh gosh, I need to scale everything up, don't. Always make sure if you're creating content, whether that's your category content, you're looking at doing reviews and emails and everything else, you're adding value. So even in the questions, don't copy someone else's content. Make sure you're adding value, that you're adding your own experiences, but you're putting in there something new, okay? Something that, and your own experience is going to be the best place to get that. No one else has had your individual experience. So if you can start feeding that in, that's going to be more valuable than anything else.
Perfect, love that. Well, thank you so much, Anna, and thank you so much to everyone who's joined us on today's webinar. Hope you found it useful. I've just dropped a link in the chat for everyone to be able to share their feedback on how everyone thought we did and what we can do to improve future webinars. We'll also be sharing the recording and further resources in a follow-up email to everyone later today. But thank you again to Anna for sharing your wisdom with us today, and I hope everyone has a lovely afternoon. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.